Broadcasting live worldwide. Welcome.
Are you ready? Welcome. Señoras y señores, welcome
a Diálogo con Luis Otero.
So welcome everyone to a new episode of Dialogo with Luis Otero. This is your host, Luis Otero. Thank you so much for listening today, and thank you to all our community and all our thousands of listeners worldwide. We want to thank you so much for taking the time to listen to our podcast or watch our podcast on YouTube. We're already over 100,000 subscribers in YouTube, over 3,000 visitors to our website of dialogoconotero.com, and we are over 100,000 followers in Instagram. So I want to say thank you so much to all of you, and please follow us, like I mentioned, in all our social media accounts, Dialogo with Otero, dialogoconotero.com. Go and visit our website, listen to all the episodes. In addition to that, go to my Instagram, De Luis Otero, TheLuis Otero. In Instagram, go to the Luis Otero. I put up a lot of funny content there, but as well, a lot of awesome content. So go and visit Instagram, and as well follow us in all our digital platforms as well. We're in over 27 platforms worldwide: iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio app, Apple Podcast, Radio Public, Spotify. Please follow us and just give a share. And the same thing, in YouTube, our website or our page in YouTube will be the Luis Otero podcast. Just go there and just watch the entire episodes. Okay, so we have a tremendous guest today. My guest today is a tremendous actor. I think one of the greatest actors alive currently, for the Hispanic community. But not only that, he's one of these amazing, great young talents that the industry have. He have acted in amazing series like Pitch, Criminal Minds, that is broadcasted in CBS, Criminal Minds Beyond Borders, Telenovela, The Crumbles, and The Day of Our Lives. You name it. He's been in many projects, and he's a great actor. Amazing professional, and he's debuting as well in an amazing series that is in right now Amazon Prime, and it's available. This is an awesome series called House of Demons. I have the pleasure to have today in Dialogo with Luis Otero the amazing Jeff Torres. Welcome to Dialogo with Luis Otero. Jeff, it's a pleasure to have you today.
Luis, pleasure, man. Pleasure. Thank you for having me. House of Demons is it's a movie. Yeah, it's a movie that's on Amazon right now, and yeah, man, it's been pretty cool talking about it. And, now that it's streaming, people can just watch it if they have Prime. So that's really cool.
I have Prime. I'm going to be on it, man. I'm going to be on it for sure.
Let me check it out, man. It's definitely not a traditional kind of horror movie. I got some crazy supernatural elements and it takes it a little differently. It's a little psychedelic. It gets a little psychological. So it's interesting.
That's interesting. Jeff, I appreciate you accepting our invitation just to be on the podcast, because your career is wonderful. It's been a wonderful career. It's been from, I know that you started very young. I was going and doing back the research. 2006 was your first short. It's incredible how time flies. Blurred Glass Lines was that first short, and then after that, you have done as well, obviously, amazing projects. The first time that it was a very good short, and then you keep coming with the Hollywood Heights, and then Helpless Angel, and then Obscurity, and then the Hangover Games, and then Buenas Noches, and then 2015 telenovelas, and then everything started to take off. 2015, all those years of work. That's a lot of people. I say, a lot of people don't see the whole work that you have put into. You have a tremendous career now. It's incredible. How do you feel about those amazing years that form you to become the Jeff Torres that we see today in a great and amazing project, a movie like House of Demons?
Well, it's crazy, man. I've been involved in a ton of different projects. Not all of them are the greatest, you know what I'm saying? But I think it's all like a training ground. So I've done a ton of projects, and I've worked with a lot of friends. Like when they're just like, I need someone, I'm like, I'm there. I just wanted to spend as much time as I could on set, because I wanted to learn that. I come from a theater background, and then I think when I came out here, I was just like, I just need to get in front of a camera and understand what that is, because it's completely different, right?
Sure.
And I just kind of thrown myself into my career. I've thrown myself into as many projects as I can, because I just wanted to just get the experience. And everything, it doesn't matter. Like everything that you do, you're going to learn something from it. So I've been very fortunate that in the last couple of years, I've done some bigger projects, and stuff like that, which is great. And, House of Demons is one of those ones where I didn't know everyone involved, but I knew a few of the actors, like Whitney Moore and like Tiffany Smith and stuff like that. So it was really cool working with them. Like that was the cool thing, like working with friends, but meeting an entire new sect like of filmmakers, which is amazing. That's kind of what you want to do. You want to. I always say that this kind of career, it's a team sport. It's a team sport, man. It really is.
It's a great way for you to say that it's a team sport, because it is. It's so many moving parts. It's so many moving people. It's so many roles. So many, the technicians, the director, the producer, the screenwriters. Then you as an actor, because you are as well a producer and you've been a stuntman as well too. You have done so many things. I can imagine that really having that type of preparation, and not only that, but that have to be a great university for you, or those first years, to become the actor that you have become, and that you're still, becoming, because every role is different and have a different dynamic, a different set of professionals on the set, and that brings a lot of elements for you to grow as an actor. How's been this past few years, because your roles have been amazing after telenovela. You've been in The Days of Our Lives, you've been in Give Till It Hurts. It was a great project. Obviously, since 2018. In 2018, you recorded House of Demons, and it's 2020, and now is when this is going out. They have to be very rewarding to see the work that you did in 2018, and now the 2020, just to be in Amazon Prime, in one of the biggest, and I think one of the top 2 biggest platforms in the world, and have such an amazing project. Have to be very rewarding, and very humbling from all those years that you put in.
Yeah, no, it is really cool. And that's the interesting thing. I think when you're doing television stuff, it comes out within a month of you shooting it, sometimes a couple of weeks. If you do a commercial, sometimes you'll see it like the following week. It's insane, the speed of production. And feature films are just a little bit different. They take a lot more time. Sure. Funding's a whole different situation. Getting distribution's a whole different thing. So it is interesting. You'll do things and you'll hear about it like a year or two later, and you're just like, oh yeah, I did that. Oh yeah, damn, I forgot about that. Or, then you remember, you go, oh, no, that was an amazing experience, whatever it was. But it's like, you kind of you move forward. That's just kind of what it is, So as you're doing these bigger projects, or you're doing kind of anything, you do it and you kind of just have to forget about it. And it's the same when I'm auditioning and stuff like that. I'll tell friends like, oh yeah, I had this audition for this thing. I'm really excited about it. Cool. And then like a week later, they'll ask me about it, and I have no idea what they're talking about. Wow. Like I actually have no clue what they're talking about. And they're like, yeah, you told me it was exciting and it was really cool, and like you were going to do this thing. And my brain just because it's like, if you carry all of that stuff with you, you can never go forward. If you're constantly holding on to all those things, wow. It's like everything's a new opportunity. Everything's a new thing. So you're moving and moving and moving, and you don't really have time to sit around contemplating the other things, That's
incredible how you say that, because you have to be in casting and talking to many, many people at the same time to keep that career going, because it's a very challenging, difficult, but very competitive business. And you being able to obviously have a career with it, it have to be very interesting that you're like, oh my God, I just forgot that last year I did like 115, 275, whatever number is of castings, because you're all the time on the go. And like, I got to prepare for this other role. Wow, this is impressive.
Well, it'd be miserable. It would also be like a really kind of miserable existence to constantly be thinking about all the things that you don't have. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because you do them, and then when you do the job, even it's like you do it, you kind of go, all right, what's next? Like this career is kind of like that what's next mentality, and so you're just kind of, it's just what you're doing. So it's like you're doing a thing. So what is that going to lead to? It's always kind of like that. And I've now gotten more into making my own stuff. So I'm trying to, I'm starting to write, direct, and stuff like that, and trying to
cool
projects.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit as well about that. We're gonna talk about a little bit of House of Demons and everything, but I would love to hear more about what you're currently doing. What because you already been a producer, already proven, So what you're currently doing because this is great. You have a career, but as well, you're building content for your own self and your own brand and your own basically your own things that you love. So tell us a little bit about what you're currently doing, Jeff.
Well, okay, so during the pandemic, it kind of happened, and I was kind of unsure, like everyone else, about what's going to happen. So I had a camera, and I decided to shoot a short film in my apartment by myself.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was like prompted by a friend. A friend of mine started this thing. Was like, hey, let's all like try and do a creative project. And then I kind of was like, all right, I'm gonna do a little thing. And then it became a little bit bigger. And it ended up being like a 7-minute short film that I did called Once. And yeah, it was interesting. I'd never written a project from scratch. So it was the first time that I wrote something, and then I had to direct myself, which is weird.
That's really
I was the only
cool.
person, so I was shooting it also. It was like a whole, I had to get an app so that I can like see myself and then like set up the shot. And then it was like a whole thing on my phone.
That's really
But it was
awesome.
incredible.
That's
Yeah, it was
incredible.
awesome. It was like one of the most rewarding experiences because I got to do what I got to tell a story that I wanted to tell, and because we had like a little bit of a time crunch, they were like, hey, let's have it finished by such and such a date. It really made me just create something that was like close to home and something that like I just was like, I'm just going to make something honest. And it's kind of about how we procrastinate and how we make excuses for not doing the things that we should be doing. I mean that kind of in a general sense. There's obviously there are situations where you're just like, that's not an excuse, that's a terrible situation. But I mean, in general, there's a lot of people that go, if I had the time to fill in the blank, I would XYZ. And then they get the time and then they spend it on their phone, or they spend it like sitting around doing nothing. And we all do that. We all procrastinate. And this short film's about that. It's about how we get in our own way. It's about a little bit about mental health. I kind of didn't really think about it when I was making it, but it touches on that subject.
That is
and
very
I think
important. It's extremely important.
Yeah, especially in the Latino community, we don't really talk too much about mental health,
so true.
and I think it's super, super important that we realize if we, go to physical therapy and stuff to, fix an injury, we should definitely go to mental therapy so that we can fix whatever's going on up here.
Sure. That's incredible because I feel that everyone in life have been in a situation where they're vulnerable. They don't know where to go. They're procrastinating in life. They're just going with the flow. And I think that touching that topic, it hits home. I was there in just years, like 10 years ago. I don't know where to go. I don't know what I was going to do. And then you start to put together those thoughts because the brain and our minds they're extremely powerful, and then you're able just to understand what will be your lane. So it's very awesome that you did this short. Did this short have any release date as well too, or you already put it out there? Because it will be awesome. I would love to see it. I'm a fan of shorts, and I think shorts have a big place in the market, and sometimes they get overlooked, and there's so many great shorts every year that they're out there.
Yeah, well, right now, I'm trying to get into the film festival circuit. We're like looking to get into film festivals.
Sure.
Yeah, but I'm not really 100% sure what that looks like in the current kind of state of things. I'm not really sure if we might have a different release date. I'm just going to try and figure out exactly what would be best because I do think it's super relevant right now, and I think people should see it. So I got to figure that out, because like I said, the film festival thing's fantastic. I'd love to meet other filmmakers and stuff like that. But I kind of just like the message and I'd like people to see it. So I'm working on exactly when, but I will definitely let you know.
That will be awesome for all our base and all our listeners. We have people all over the world that they listen to us, from Spain to United States, Central, South America, Caribbean, most of the Spanish markets, but a lot of people that they have listened to us, they have seen a lot of the shorts that we have talked about, and people they have said, oh my God, I never thought in a million years that I was going to see a great short. And this short is extremely amazing because it touches not only the procrastination and maybe the mental state where you're at when you're in a situation like this, but it can help you. And obviously you as a screenwriter and a director for this amazing short title Once, I think that really helps a lot of people maybe find through that message where they gotta go. And that's the beauty about the art of acting, screenwriting, and just delivering that message, because putting that together is just magic. And it's still for me magic every single time that I see a movie, because you know how many people they have to just get together, or maybe that person have together all those thoughts, put it in as in a screenplay, in a specific mock to say how I should act, and just those things that's extremely wonderful. So just keep us posted about that amazing project.
Yeah, I definitely will. I mean, I'm really excited about it. I'm really proud of it, which is
You
like something
should
that I
be
don't
proud.
that often. Yeah. Well, it's just like interesting, we're so concerned about our work all the time and whether or not we're like good enough to do things or all that stuff, and then when you put something together, I think if you do something honestly and you're honest with yourself about like the kind of quality that you want to create,
Sure.
I think people should go for it. And also, I was just kind of like, if I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail big, and I'm going to make a 7-minute short film, I guess.
Yeah.
And we'll see where where that goes, but it ended up turning out all right, and I really enjoyed it. So it was a good process too.
It's awesome to see, more shorts and obviously this amazing project once. So just stay tuned, everyone, that they're listening to us or watching, to that, because Jeff will let us know when the project comes out. Jeff, going into a lot of your career, you have done a lot of TV series, and it's a great place, obviously, as well for you to, express and do, these amazing roles that you're being part of. I think TV series bring a lot of elements because there's so many moving people. You have to create an ambience. The same thing as a movie, but it's different because it's in a faster pace. How you are able to adapt from just doing a short that is in a different pace to a TV series when you have so many people and ambience and extras and everything, to be able to embrace that role, the same thing that you did in this amazing movie, House of Demons, that just to everyone, is streaming Amazon Prime. Just go there and watch it because it's a great movie. And we're going to talk a little bit more, further to the interview, but how you adapt to those environments, because they're completely different.
Well, I think it's just that when you're doing a bigger, like a TV show, they usually have like way bigger budgets. They have a lot, like you said, it's a lot of moving parts. It's a bigger thing. And so you get to concentrate on your job. So that's kind of the thing. Like when you're on those things, like I think it's good to be as aware as you can about what's going on around you, but also you get to just do your job, and doing your own job is sometimes a relief, because if you're creating your own stuff or you're working on a smaller thing, oftentimes they don't have like all the people there to kind of make sure everything's going smoothly. Sure. So your actor brain is on, but then also you're like, okay, I got to pay. Did they notice this? Did they notice that? When you're on a bigger thing, a lot of times there's so many moving pieces and there's so many people picking up everything that you just get to kind of do your thing.
That's awesome.
So that's kind of a little bit easier and a little bit more fun in that way. That I love acting, and I've been doing it since I was in high school, and that to me is like what my passion. So, or one of my passions, but that is it's fun. I think it's fun to kind of be able to do that.
Jeff, from your experience with all these amazing TV series and projects, what would you put, in the list of like those experiences that they have marked your career? Because I feel 2015 telenovela was really an amazing entree, because to all those years that you've been, honing that craft and just perfectioning that. And then after that, 2016, 17, 18 has been like nonstop. Like you're back to back to back to back. And it's really wonderful because seeing a new face, it is awesome, But from those experiences of just been working with so many wonderful people in the business, what are those experiences that you say, wow, this experience was great, and I have get this other experience? What are those experiences that they have marked your career as an actor and professional?
I'd say that there's a few that I the one that kind of comes to mind. What I did this amazing play that I did. It's called a Mercury Fur, and I did that years ago. And it's just like this incredible play that's kind of like really irrelevant now, maybe in an insane way, kind of. But I did this play. It was directed by Dado. She's an amazing director, creator, person out of Chicago, and it was like mostly a Chicago-based cast, but it was in LA. And that role, I don't really know what it was, but that whole experience was fantastic. It was people left the theater. Like I invited friends, and like they would text me like 2 days later and be like, "We left the theater and we like couldn't talk." It was like we were so impacted by it that like we were just like, we don't know what to do. Like we don't know what to do with all the information that was presented to us,
That
And
awesome.
then
That would be that's wonderful.
and talking about the power of art and all that stuff, it was like that kind of experience was incredible. But as far as like TV film stuff and like I guess little kid goals that you have, working on Criminal Minds Beyond Borders, working with Gary Sinise was like it was really cool, man.
I
had the scene straight up with him. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really cool working with him. And
I feel goosebumps how you're saying it. They have to be, wow, such an amazing experience.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I grew up watching him as a kid. I think like a lot of us did, and I was like, man, this guy is kind of someone that you grow up like looking up to as an actor, and doing a scene with him, and then being able to do the scene with him full blast. Like I got to really go for it. And the director came up to me and was like, "You already got it. You did 2 takes. You already got it. Just do whatever you want on the 3rd take." and then I do on the third take like my version of it, like my real version, and that's what they use in the TV show.
That is awesome.
So yeah. So it was one of those things where it's like I felt finally when I was on that set working with him that I was like, oh, I can do this. Like I can really do this, because like you're always kind of questioning it, and at that moment I was like, oh, I all right, okay, yes, I like kind of can gauge where I'm at, that I feel comfortable working with these people. So that was a huge thing for me. And he was awesome. He was so cool to work with. Him and Annie Funk, they were both like amazing.
That have to be amazing because it turned the switch of confidence, and that having that confidence, I'm like, wow, it changed your way of you seeing yourself as an actor, producer, director, and it gives you confidence. Confidence is so important in this business, in any business, and you having the confidence have to be that switch of like, it's Jeff Torres for a long time now because I'm gonna be doing this for a long time.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. It's that sense of like, oh, I can do this for the rest of my life. I really can. And like, here's the thing: like, if you're doing this career, like, there's part of you that's a little crazy to even think that you can do that. Like, there's got to be a little bit of crazy, or a little bit of not delusion, but like a little bit of like, yeah, I can do this, yeah, And then you get there and you're like, I hope I can do this. I don't know. And you're doing it for years and you're just kind of like, yeah, I'm getting better. And then like, finally, you get these moments where you're like, I think I know what I'm doing. I think with the right role, with the right stuff, I can do some really work that I'm proud of, I guess is what I can say. And this goes into creating, because now I'm like, I want to make opportunities where I can feel comfortable with my work all the time if I can have control of it. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's awesome too, because it gives you the power of just being an independent filmmaker, where you can go with your product to a company like Bitmax, that is the independent distributor and aggregator for like Amazon or Netflix, or any company that really is out there that will take your product, and you're able to make a better living, or just earn a very good living, creating a tremendous catalog of content where you create that revenue and helps you provide other opportunities for other people, because you've been very active in our community. You're out there helping a lot of other new talent just navigate the waters of this difficult industry called, Hollywood. In many ways, you will see the film industry. So, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and I hope that, like, I mean, that is, I think you hit it on the head. There's the other thing. It's like you're creating work for yourself, but then you're also creating work so that you can hire the people that are your friends.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really what it comes down to. Like, I mean, I got to say this. Like, this is a real thing. I know so many incredibly talented people. Like, I'm not talking about kind of talented. I'm talking about people that, like, you gave them $1 million and you put them on a billboard, and people would go watch these movies and their heads would explode. But like, that's the kind of talent that I know. And they're not, sometimes they don't get these huge opportunities. They don't get these opportunities, And so to me, I'm like, if I can start making stuff for myself, if I can start putting myself in a position of producing, of directing, of writing, of creating on my terms a little bit more, then I can start collaborating with more people, and I can really start showcasing these amazing friends of mine, these people that I know that are awesome and that maybe haven't had like huge opportunities. And we together can make bigger things that showcase all of us. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what it's about. And there's a team sport.
It's awesome because you come from the theater background, and the theater background is a team as well. And in theater, you feel like a family because you're not in maybe one show. You're doing like 17, 20, 30. And when you have that kind of dynamic and you're seen as a team, you practice the same thing in just filmmaking. My Lord, the opportunities are endless. Like, because you can experience or experiment or just do anything and it will work because you have that teamwork mentality where you leave everyone doing their own areas where they're good at, and you can direct or create. And that's extremely awesome what you're doing with, as well, creating your own content. It gives you a different edge as an actor and professional and entrepreneur too.
Yeah. I mean, and you have to learn new skills. And I think the thing about acting that's really awesome is there's pretty much nothing you can do that'll make you not a more every experience that you have as an actor, as a human being, is going to make you a better actor. Like, that's just how it is. So every new skill that you learn, every new person that you meet, everything is just going to make you better at that. So it's kind of weird that like it's this amazing kind of like a placeholder, I don't know, like a container for all my experiences. I can put that into my acting if I want. So that makes me very happy. I like that.
No, it's really awesome. And let's talk about this amazing movie, House of Demons, in Amazon Prime. Everyone, just go and just stream it. It's amazing. Patrick Meany is the director of this, movie. It's a supernatural thriller, with four strange friends who are reunited to spend the night in a terrifying time-bending haunted house. I love this. Already, I'm super excited. Tell me, how was the experience and how you really accepted this amazing project, and how this really this project have just impacted your career? Because trust me, now you're in Amazon Prime, the world can see it, and I saw the trailer and it's ridiculously amazing. So tell me a little bit about this amazing project.
Yeah, it's I auditioned for it. I auditioned for Patrick. I believe Jordan JB. I think there was another producer that I can't remember, or if it was Henry. I don't know. Someone else was there, and I auditioned for them, and I liked the project, and I knew some of the other people involved, Chloe Dykstra, and like I mentioned, Tiffany Smith, and some other people.
Sure.
And then I just did it, and I felt really good about it. I liked the character. I was like, yeah, I think I know who this dude is. Like, this is really cool. And it's interesting because he's like this, like, kind of burnout. Like, he was like this guy who was going, like, all the stories, essentially all these people had their lives, and then they had this traumatic experience that kind of like separates them. Sure. They have this experience, and they're like, oh, okay, now we're not really talking. And they all gather years later for a friend's wedding. And so they spend the night in this cabin. And so then as that happens, then they start to kind of reconnect, and kind of, you get to find out what was going on with them, et cetera, et cetera. And I really like this character. He's like this kind of guy who thought he knew what he was doing, and then he gets lost, and he just kind of like deals some drugs a little bit. Like he's kind of just, he's not really sure what he's doing. And it was interesting. I've never even smoked weed before. I've never done any drugs, like, ever. Like, I don't even drink really, and it's like, sure, it's interesting playing that kind of part, because, I'm not judging that. Like, who cares? People can do what they want or what makes them feel good. But it was interesting, this character, I saw this kind of like wounded guy who just kind of like is trying to be cool and like, yeah, it's all good, but it's like he's hurt, and that's kind of what it's about. It's about like trauma. Like, a lot of this film is about that.
That's awesome. And you in the movie are Matthew, who's this guy with this story that you have said that is really amazing. And there's other 4 more strangers inside of this house. Yeah. Where the movie was recorded? It was recorded in California, or it was a different location?
No, yeah, we were in California. I think we shot in like near Santa Clarita, I want to say. It was like it was like a little bit north of Los Angeles, like a little bit like up in the mountains somewhere. And that cabin was kind of scary. Yeah. At nighttime, when you're driving up or down, it was like it was a little scary, dude. It was terrifying.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, it was out there, dude.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. And one of the last questions, because I know that we got to wrap up. You're very busy, doing a lot of promo, and it's amazing that you have decided to spend our time, and this time amazingly with us. And this is not the first time. We're gonna have Jeff back again. I know that a lot of people, they were writing me about this, amazing interview that we're gonna have to Jeff. But Jeff, when you are recording a movie, you have to get into character. How is the process for you to get into character and become them back? Jeff Torres is always a magic in every single role. How mentally you get into the mind frame to become Matthew in a movie like this that is very different sometimes to what typically you see, or you've been working like in Criminal Minds, that it was a different role, and you're able to get back after, how you're in the role and back in the role. How would that psychology, you use it, or how you work with it to just be able to just be difference between those two?
That's a really good question. I think that's actually a super important question, because I think not enough people put the emphasis on how do you get out, right? So what happens is you get into this mentality sometimes, and it's not really your mentality, but you have to kind of imagine it and live in it and make it real. So it is real. Like, that's an actual scientific thing. If you look it up, when actors are doing their job right and they're feeling those emotions, even though they're like imaginary, the brain doesn't know the difference. It's insane. So like if you do a CAT scan of someone's brain, they're having the emotions. It's all happening. All the chemicals are being released. So it's important to be able to step out of it. And I think the way that I do it is I try. It really depends. Every role is going to be different. Some things just kind of click in my brain. They click in my body and my brain, and I can just kind of fall into it really easily. And then there are some things where it doesn't come as easily to me, so I have to kind of stay in it a little bit more on set, in between takes. I kind of just don't really talk a lot, or I'll kind of observe more, but I try and stay in that zone. But there are certain parts where I do them, and even if they're like way out there, but something in my brain, it clicks and it goes like, oh, I can do this. And so me stepping out sometimes is as simple as the camera stops rolling and I can just turn around and talk to someone and be like, dude, the crafty is amazing. Did you have the salmon? It was really good, and just change the subject and relax. And then I can go back into it. It's really like, I think it comes down to remembering at the end of the day, even though you are going through those emotions, you're imagining, it's imaginary, and you have to kind of remind yourself about that and stuff. I think that the coming out of it, I don't know. I try to do that every day when I leave set, if that makes sense. And that, I know some people won't agree with that. Some people will be like, and here's the thing. It's like anything. You got to find what works for you. You can't be like, oh, this is what great actors do, or this is what bad actors do. Sure, there are like some similarities in certain things, but when it comes down to the brass tacks and like the technique, it's going to be different for every person. So sometimes I'll listen to music, sometimes I'll listen to whatever. It just depends on what it helps you get there. And that's what's important, getting there, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that I try, when I leave set, I try to just listen to music because that's something else, something that's me, and I remember myself and whatever. Or if I'm really in it and I'm excited about it, I'll stay in it and think about that for the next day. It just depends. It really, really depends, man. It's a per case thing,
It's very interesting how the way that you disconnect from character and come back to character. I always see that is extremely wonderful because you're putting out there a story, and a lot of people, they don't give enough credit. And I always will give credit to all actors, professionals in the film industry, because just to get into that mind frame and be able to just deliver a spectacular role like Matthew in this movie, and that message, it have to be extremely challenging because you are a person with feelings and ways of thinking and the way that you see yourself and you see the world, etc. And sometimes to interpret somebody else and be able to get into that story and to that line and to those feelings and those acts can be very challenging. So props to you,
well,
And
I want to say something about that. It's interesting that you say about the telling other people's stories. That's the thing. Like, acting is it's storytelling, man. It's like we used to gather around fires and tell stories. Like, that's what we did. Like, we've been doing that for thousands of years. As long as human beings have been alive, there's been some form of performance, right? And I think that's the thing. Like, even I'm playing Matthew, like, we don't have a ton of similarities, but like, this guy's story, it spoke to me in some way. And then I had to tell that story honestly. It doesn't matter. Like, I can't judge his story. I can't be like, oh, well, he's kind of a loser or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, I have to tell these stories, and I got to tell them honestly from my heart, because it's like every time you're acting, you're fighting for their life. You're fighting for their point of view, and you're fighting to tell their story, because every human being has a story.
Yep.
And it's like, we can dismiss it and we can say, oh, that person is this, or that person's that, or that person, they vote this way or they vote that way, or whatever it is. But it's like, every human being has a story, and they have a how they got there, and they also have somewhere where they're going. And I happen to believe that, God, every story is important. And that sounds dumb, but I really believe it. And I think as an actor, it's like my job to be honest about the stories that I tell, and I try to humanize everything whenever I can.
That's extremely awesome. It's amazing the work that you're doing, and everyone that are listening or watching, please go to Amazon Prime and stream now. House of Demons is an amazing movie where Jeff plays Matthew, and you guys are gonna love this movie. Jeff, where we can find you in social media? I want to make sure that everyone goes and follows you and follows your amazing work and your amazing career. Where they can find you? I know that you're in Instagram and you're growing big time. So tell us a little bit more about where we can find you on social media.
So I'm on Instagram at I am Jeff Torres, and then I'm on Twitter at I am Jeff Torres. So same thing for both of them. That's where I pretty much hang out. Twitter and Instagram is where I'm at.
Yeah.
I have a TikTok. but I haven't really used it. You know, I'm figuring
It's
that
difficult,
out.
man. It's just
You know,
difficult these days, Jeff. You know, you have so many
gotta-
social
you gotta-
media. It's just to stay up with everything. I just stay in. I live in Instagram, a little bit in Twitter, and then I'm in my YouTube, and obviously all the 27 platforms where we're at worldwide. But it's just difficult. I say,
Yeah, it's hard to keep up. It's hard to keep up. Yeah. But that's where I'm at. So yeah, come see. I do. You know, I do a thing on my Instagram sometimes called Shirtless Kitchen, where it's just with me.
But that man, that concept, I gotta say, it's just cool. I just see that concept at some point taking off because it's just cool. It's just cool,
Yeah.
you know. So I really go and just follow. I am Jeff Torres on Instagram and Twitter. Amazing actor, Jeff. Such a pleasure to have you. I hope that this repeats again. I really want to make sure that we hear from once your amazing short that you talked to us earlier, very soon. I really would love to hear more about the project, and this is your house. You're welcome here anytime, and we will love definitely to see you in House of Demons. Everyone go on Amazon Prime and just stream it now. House of Demons, but Matthew, played by Jeff Torres, the amazing actor that we had today in Dialogo. It's such a pleasure to have you, Jeff. Hope that I can have you here soon again.
Yeah, definitely. Luis, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you.
No, it's a great pleasure to have you. And again, for everyone that they're listening or watching, please follow us in all our social media accounts. Make sure to go and see House of Demons in Amazon Prime now. And we see you guys next time here in Dialogo with Luis Otero. Thank you.